Hello everybody, today we have beautiful gaming laptop Lenovo Legion 5 Pro, and it's a 15IAH7H series laptop. It's an Intel Core i7 12th Gen with beautiful graphics, RTX 3060. Let's take it apart, let's see what we can fix, replace or upgrade. Start with bottom screws. Alright. Once you have all the screws out, separate the bottom case from the palmrest. So we have to find a gap where you can place our tool. Once you have the gap, disconnect all the clips. And use only plastic tool, otherwise you can scratch the other parts. Okay, and the bottom is off. Here, that's our part number on the white sticker. Now we can access all the internal components. So start with disconnecting the battery. And now we can take it out. So if the battery doesn't hold the charge or it's swollen, you can replace it. Looks like one screw is covered by this cover, so let's take it off. So that's our empty M2 slot under that cover. Now we can continue with the battery. And now we can take it out. So if the battery is swollen or doesn't hold the charge, you can replace it. Here should be the model number right here. Alright, let's check under this cover now. So here under this cover, that's our storage. So if the laptop doesn't boot and tells you there is no boot device, or you would like to upgrade storage to the bigger one, this is how we can do it. That's the NVMe SSD drive. And in that slot, you can mount additional drive. And here we can see our Wi-Fi card. So if the Wi-Fi doesn't work, you can replace this card. Gently disconnect the antenna wires. And take out the screw on the top, and you can take out the card. Here, that's our model number for the card. Okay, under these covers here, there should be our RAM memory. Okay, so take off the cover, and now if you spread those arms, you can take out the memory. So if the memory doesn't work or you would like to upgrade to the bigger one, you can do it. That's our RAM. Okay, now let's take out our heatsink. So if the laptop overheats and you would like to add cooling paste between the processor and the GPU and the heatsink, this is how you can do it. So unscrew all the screws. Let's unscrew the screws for the fans. Very often fans are connected to the heatsink. Now let's disconnect the fan from the motherboard. Now let's lift the heatsink. Be careful, don't bend it. It may be stuck to the chip because of the dried out cooling paste, so be very gentle. Let's make sure all the screws are out. Alright, so in our case it was stuck to the motherboard, so you have to be careful, don't bend the heatsink. If you bend it, it won't work anymore. And as for the fans, if they don't spin or they're making grinding noise, this is how you can replace them as well. Here we have the part number. And that's our part numbers for fans. And here you can see our processor and the graphics, they both soldered on the motherboard. So if these don't work, you have to replace the whole motherboard. Alright, now let's see if we can unplug our speakers. Very often if the sound is bad, you would like to replace your speakers. So this is how you can do it. Be careful because the cable for the speakers is routed the same way like the Wi-Fi cable. So follow the cable and you will find the opposite speaker. And now unplug it from the motherboard. And these are our speakers. And that's the part number. Alright, here we can see our I/O board with our audio port and the USB port. So if these don't work, you can replace this board. The board connects to the motherboard underneath, so let's take out also the motherboard. So disconnect all the remaining connectors. That's our touchpad. Now looks like all the cables are disconnected, so take out all the remaining screws. There's one more connector here. I usually close those retaining clips. They're very fragile. If you leave it open, you can break it later. So now once we have the motherboard out, look on the opposite side and disconnect the I/O board. Okay, so the motherboard is out. Here, that's our part number. And here on the white sticker, that's our part number. And that's our I/O board with the cable. Look for the part number here. Alright, now let's unscrew our hinges, so we can disconnect the Palmrest keyboard assembly from the screen. Okay, now let's take off that rear cover. So sometimes you have to wiggle this plastic to disconnect all the clips. Alright, and the cover is off. Here we have the part number. Now let's take out these hinge screws. So now the screen is disconnected. Be careful with the video cable. Alright. So the Palmrest keyboard touchpad assembly are disconnected from the screen. Let's see if we can replace just the touchpad. So it looks like the touchpad and the keyboard, they both riveted to the Palmrest, so if they don't work, you have to buy the whole Palmrest touchpad assembly. If you're looking for parts, check gatlaptopparts.com. And now let's take out the LCD. So first start with taking off the front bezel. So it looks like the front bezel is held only by the adhesive. Okay, let's check under those covers. Okay, so they belong to the front bezel. Alright, and the front bezel is off. There is no part number. Okay, so now let's take off our hinges. Okay, once the hinges are out of the way, here we can see our pull tabs. So we have to catch this strip and pull it out. And this is how the screen is mounted to the back cover with this strip of adhesive. do the opposite side the same way. Okay. So now we can take out the screen. Here on the back, that's our video cable. You have to disconnect it. Flip this retaining clip. And now we can pull out the connector. Okay, so that's our screen. Here we have the part number. That's our video cable. So we can also replace the video cable if needed. On that white sticker, that's our part number. And that's the LCD back cover. Here you have the part number. And that's our webcam. Webcam looks very fragile. Let's leave it in the back cover. Alright, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video.